when I play games like these, most of the time I try to be good and start with a healer. And I went with, you guessed it, Lunar Snow. So yeah, we're gonna analyze Luna's character design and then look up on the story because I, in fact, don't know her story really. This is my first time honestly hearing about this character. So it'll be interesting to look at how they incorporated her story into her design. Okay, so where is our A's to Z's? This is gonna. Oh, okay. Okay, I see it. There we go. Okay, Luna Snow. My favorite character actually is right now. I'm trying to decide between Psylocke and Magic. Where is she? Oh, there she here. Gosh, Psylocke is so much of fun. This hero is just crazy. At first, when I started playing, I thought she was like a low ceiling, low skill floor Genji. Um, but after learning her and playing her more, she's a freaking high skill ceiling Psylocke. Very little Genji in there. And Magic is just something else altogether. So much of fun. Okay, so let's go back to Luna. She is a pop star. She, I don't know how old of a character she is, if she's a K-pop star, because that industry is what it is now, only for about 15 years, max 20. Before that, it looked completely different. And this is something of the last 10 to 15 years. Okay, let's read her story. Equal parts pop star and superhero, Luna Snow puts on a dazzling show with both light and dark ice powers. The arena is a stage where Seo Hee and her team orchestrate spectacular displays that earn her an ever increasing number of fans and wins. Okay, so not that much of lore there. I'm guessing that's what that button is for. But let's take this image. There's a few other images that I was actually thinking of using. The stuff from in-game. So this is the full image of that portrait. Now, where would I get the in-game? Hmm. So the website only has that. Okay, I think we can find it here. Luna Snow. What am I looking for? This one. I apologize for the cough. I just come preloaded with that, unfortunately. Okay, you could also take this one. All right. Okay, let's find out a little bit more about her. Oh, I expected a little bit more, but okay. Luna Snow is more than just another K-pop superstar. She's also a symbol of hope for an entire generation. Starting to sound a bit like Diva. Using her ice powers to keep tensions across the world cool. Oh, okay, the world. Luna has become a musical diplomat, ready to face any conflict that may arise. Tragedy nearly struck during Luna Snow's summer concert when a wounded Atlian creature caused a devastating tsunami. Luna's ice held back the rushing tide and helped to heal the beast's injuries. She single-handedly saved countless lives and prevented the situation from escalating into a full-scale conflict between South Korea and the world beneath the waves. Okay, so basically Diva, but instead of a gamer, she's a K-pop star. And instead of fighting um, sentient robots coming from the sea, she's fighting creatures from the sea. I don't know much more about her. How old is the character Luna Snow? This might be an interesting thing to find out. Luna Snow character origins. The character first appeared as an original character in the 2015 video game Marvel Future Fight on January 24, 2018. Very new. Okay, very new character. This makes sense. The South Korean mobile game developer Netmarble requested a character described as an ice magician who could both heal and deal damage for the game. The mobile game developer Netmarble. Okay, that sounds generic. I can't tell whether it's Chinese like NetEase, and whether it was done in collaboration with a Western company like Marvel Rivals. So yeah, the original IP of the Marvel Universe doesn't really have this character in it. She is a product of modern um, games. When I had first seen the character, when I read the description in game, which was very brief, much more. No man, it was much more like the tiny description. Why is it stuck on this page? How do you go back? This is gonna change the hero. Law again. Do you click it again? No. Abilities. No. Oh, so you just scroll down to law. Okay. This page is much smaller than I thought. So in game, they had something as small and sweet as that, and I had assumed that she was a very new character, and I was right about that. And I had wondered why she didn't look Korean. That was the first thing that stood out to me. She looks Western, and that's one thing Korea doesn't do for the most part, like 99.9% Asian um, people in K-pop. Uh, so this makes more sense, but I guess after playing this for a week, you kind of get endeared to what she is. But this does not look like an Asian face. Part of the design. It's definitely part of the design. It's a big design choice to go from something like this to something like that. So, although, oh, there's a Marvel tag here, so this is not just fan art. This is actual official art. So let's right. So her story from here seems very thin, just like here. But what we could do on Diego, Luna Snow's origin. Okay, there's a comic. Is it fair for me to call her story thin without reading the comic? Let's just have a brief look at this, and then I want to see whether she's got like one page in the comic of something bigger, or she's got an actual full comic. Then what I'll do is I'll read it, and then I'll get back to this video. I'll cut it out. Or, well, I guess I could read it together. Let's see.
Luna Snow has taken the stage in Marvel Rivals and has already become a fan favorite. But do you know how she came to be a hero? Welcome to the Comic Story and Complete Story series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. If you enjoy these stories, be sure to support the industry and go check them out at your local comic shop. In today's Marvel Rivals Spotlight, we are going to explore Luna Snow's origin story of how she went from singing sensation to a superhero. From the comic Future Fight Firsts, Luna Snow by Alyssa Wong. I hope you enjoy. At the Pan-Asian School for the Unusually Gifted, Jimmy Woo, leader of Atlas and the headmaster, sits in front of a computer screen, looking at the potential candidates for the Agents of Atlas team. He taps a few buttons while softly singing a popular K-pop tune. Suddenly, a massive dragon appears behind him. "What are you singing?" the great dragon rumbles as it leans in. "Ah, Mr. Lau, I didn't know you were there," Wu says, jumping in surprise. Mr. Lau smiles and peers at the computer. "I've been here for a while, just..."
I find it interesting that there's a huge ass dragon in the middle of this room, and this dude is just chilled. Well, that does set the tone for the story that, okay, massive dragon, pretty normal.
"Enjoying the show. I didn't realize you were a K-pop fan," Mr. Lau notes. He looks at the picture of Luna Snow on the screen, a potential agent and K-pop star. This says that Luna Snow has a new tour on the horizon. You think she can commit to being an agent of Atlas on top of her busy touring schedule?" Mr. Lau ponders. But Jimmy Woo smiles and taps a few buttons, bringing up footage of Luna Snow's first foray into the world of superheroes. Watch this footage. By the end, I think you'll see why I'm not worried about her commitment, he explains. Years ago, Sol Hee was preparing herself for the upcoming show, standing in front of the mirror and practicing Forlet's dance routine, while her other group mates were getting ready. "Sol Hee, sit down. You're making my feet hurt just watching you," Minji says as the hair and makeup people work on her. Sol Hee nods and turns back to her friends, explaining that she's just nervous and doesn't want to make a mistake. Jinsu smiles as she pulls on her jacket. "We all train hard, but you treat it like a martial art," she says. "I wish it were a martial art, then I could just punch my doubts in the face," Sol Hee tells them. Haewon comes over and pats her on the shoulder. "You're going to do great. You know the set..."
It's interesting how different the design of this comic is from the actual character that we got. I don't just mean the color of the hair, which I see a white-haired character in her group, her K-pop group. Maybe she paints this, dyes his hair this color in recognition of her. Maybe she dies, I don't know. But besides that, the overall design of the character is so different. Like, the jaw is a lot softer. You got a nice straight here, but for the most part, this is a much softer character, whereas this is a much sharper design overall, with pointiness here, pointiness there. She's got the sharp hair. Her clothes have sharp ends, tips. Maybe it's about foreshadowing of what's to come. But the face itself, very soft design, very sharp design here. what she ended up in game as.
By heart. By the end of the night, they'll be chanting your name, she promises. The rest of the group jump up and start chanting Seol-hee's stage name. Luna! 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 Until Seol-hee puts up her hand.
Notice that she does have the white and black on the gloves already. So I'm intrigued. Why is the hair not already white and black?
And tells them to stop. Come on, guys. I'm still not.
By the way, this is really cool that these guys have done this. I guess reading of the comic. I'll link it in the video description as well. I'll find the link to the actual comic if you want to read that, and I'll have that in the description as well.
Used to that, she shouts with a smile. Everyone sits down for hair and makeup, but Seol-hee is still nervous about their first major performance. I know what always makes you feel better. Practice, Min-ji says with a smile. Staring into the mirror, the girls start singing, bringing looks of awe and surprise from the hair and makeup people around them. One by one, the girls join in until every member of 4-Lit is singing along. Seol-hee smiles at her friends, her mind flashing back to when she didn't really have anyone. Her parents died when she was very young, and she went and lived with her grandmother. It was at her grandmother's house where she first saw snow. Little Seol-hee stared out the window in fascination as the puffy white flakes fell from the sky. They like to dance with their friends, just like you, her grandmother had said with a smile. It was later that Seol-hee decided that she wanted to try out and become a Korean idol and dance on stage, and her grandmother supported her. Though she lacked confidence when she first stepped before the judges, they were shocked at her natural talent and how well she performed to music. We are signing her right now.
This is an interesting thing. As humans, we like people who work hard and achieve things despite difficulty. That's the underdog, right? But at the same time, we like heroes that are often given stories like this where they're just naturally gifted at something. Something they didn't really work to earn. I'm guessing she's going to have something else that she earns that shows what makes her a hero. But this is kind of like the Deku Naruto problem where they start off and they make them look like they have nothing. But then they have the best skills in the show. You know? It's kind of a cop-out in a way. That a lot of people get away with thanks to, well, I guess, the rest of the story being solid. But let's see where this goes.
The judges agreed quickly. Soon, Seol-hee was put into training to become one of the Korean idols, which involved long hours of dance classes and practice. Seol-hee felt all alone when she was away from her grandmother, but she knew that she was doing the right thing. But some of the other girls weren't the nicest and elbowed her during practice. That was when she met her friends. Seol-hee had been knocked down, but when she looked up, Haewon was holding out a hand to help her up. Hey, are you alright? She asked with a smile. Min-ji and Jin-soo at her back. That girl's a jerk. She's probably just jealous because she dances like a turkey, Min-ji says, making faces at the other girl. Haewon smiled as she helped Seol-hee up.
A little bit of a cute interaction that saves it. Although I feel it's a bit lackluster for a hero. Okay, so her parents died, a bit tropey, but you know, Marvel, so we'll give it to them. They're the ones who made the trope after all. I think, you know, Spider-Man. Anyway, second, she gets mildly bullied, but without any struggle, going home, processing, crying, nothing like that. She's immediately helped, right? So it's just there's not much real reflection being done here. So I wouldn't really call that a conflict or in writing when I eventually get to I guess, teaching scene structure, there's two types of conflict. One we call conflict, and the other one we call disaster. The conflict is sort of like an introduction of a problem, kind of like getting elbowed, and then the disaster is where we realize why that is such a problem when it affects the stakes. So if there's something that we are all worried about, we are in that scene reading to find out, what happens, to this or that we are worried about. What's the character's goal and what they're trying to achieve, what's stopping it, what's at stake, and some conflict is introduced, and it might seem like a bit of an issue, but it's not such a big deal until it starts affecting the stakes, and now you can no longer save the person you need to save, or things get worse. That's the disaster, and that's what gets people invested. This doesn't get me invested. She got knocked down. It's sad. She seems like a nice girl, but she gets helped immediately. So you're like, okay, there's a lot of nice people in the story. It doesn't seem like that bad of a world, honestly. So it doesn't make for a very compelling story.
Why don't you stick with us? She offers. And it didn't take long for the girls to form their own group, and 4 Lit was born. Now, they were preparing for their big debut concert, and the world was eagerly waiting. Suddenly, the door to their dressing room barges open, and Dongwon Sung, their manager, comes rushing in. Girls, 15 minutes before the concert starts. You should see the crowd gathering outside. You're blowing up on social media. Everyone's eyes are on you tonight. He shouts with joy. He leads them through the
That's another thing. Like, why are they blowing up on social media? This is, so far what I've seen, this is bad writing. Why are they blowing up on social media? What's happened? What have they done that made them do so well? They're about to perform. Like, they haven't done anything on stage yet for them to say it's been an hour since the opening performance and it's already trending. Like, there's nothing happened. There's been no foreshadowing for this. Like, these kind of things use up something. One of my fellow authors, we beta read each other's work. He was really good. His work was very good. So he said it's called bias, and especially at the start of a story when people are reading, they're not fully invested in your work yet. They don't know you as an author, especially when they don't know you. You have a few opportunities to suspend their disbelief, depending on how much of a suspension you ask of them. A lot of it depends on your tone, the way you start the story. Because if you start the story with like something so crazy, absurd, out of this world, that I'm basically saying you just buy anything that I give you because this is going to be a wild ride, then it's fine, right? It's probably going to be some kind of comedy or whatnot, and you look at these things through a different lens. But if you play the story straight, you're going to have people trying to figure out things, and you throw things like this in the screen out of nowhere. It kind of feels a bit out of left field, and you use up one of those bias. Like 2-3 times it happens. People just put the book down, go do something else, never come back. They'll say, oh, the book seemed interesting, story seemed interesting. I don't know, it just didn't catch me. Or some of them might just say straight up that something weird happened. The beginning didn't make any sense. But those are rare. Most people will just be like, I didn't like it. So yeah, this kind of thing coming out of left field is very weird. You'd want to show that they've done something to earn the. So far, yeah, basically nothing's been earned so far. You just told me that she was bullied and she lost her parents, so we should feel sorry for her and hope that she has all
tonight. He shouts with joy. He leads them through the Stark Arena, past the special snow machines that he purchased for the event. These machines are state of the art. The fans won't believe the special effects. he tells the girls. Solhee looks at the strange equipment.
Regarding the character design, we can see that for the most part she's already got her get up. I don't see the blue on the inside of the collar here, but we do see that she's got the blue and white, and the half jacket, long sleeve with gloves. It's just the hair. The long thigh-high boots are there as well already. So she's not a hero yet. What's going to symbolize that apotheosis, that change? So far, it seems like it's just going to be the hair. It'd be kind of disappointing. It would have been better to have had a starting point that is more different and shows the growth into this. When she becomes a more popular, well-known K-pop idol, she also becomes a hero. And both of those are reflected in her outfit.
Amazing! Did you get them from Tony Stark? She asks. Their manager shakes his head, remembering the shadowy woman who rented them to him for cheap. Not exactly. That wasn't in the budget. But I found a very reputable retailer, he explains. Shortly, the concert has begun. Through the Stark Arena, past the special snow machines that he purchased for the event. These machines are state-of-the-art. The fans won't believe the special effects, he tells the girls. Solhee looks at the strange equipment. Amazing! Did you get them from Tony Stark? She asks. Their manager shakes his head, remembering the shadowy woman who rented them to him for cheap. Not exactly. That wasn't in the budget. But I found a very reputable retailer, he explains. Shortly,
one thing they did do is they did introduce the manager in a bit of a dodgy way. Although I think that's more of the reader who had the foresight to introduce him as a little bit more of a sleazy kind of manager with his vocal intonations rather than the actual story. Because he seemed like a happy-go-lucky guy in the first panel.
The concert has begun. Snow begins to fall from the ceiling as the lights come on and the girls start singing. The lights flash around them as they step on stage and begin to dance. And the crowd cheers and goes crazy, chanting their names.
This is a good, what do you call it? A quick visual of the difference between the design of a character and regular people. This is a character. This is someone that we need to be paying attention to. She as well, relatively to this. And these are average people. You know, the 90% of people without features that make them, stand out in a crowd. They are literally the crowd. Although she has a pretty nice face. But yeah, this is basically very average looking people that you would find in a crowd. They do not look as good as their idols. And I mean, they're idols for a reason. Like every country has their best looking people on TV. Well, not anymore. The West has decided to go a different way to an extent. And in terms of gaming, Marvel Rivals has shown them that they did not make the correct choice. Concord, just saying. Anyway, back to the story.
But backstage, the door to the special effects booth bursts open and a tall woman enters. She knocks aside the stagehand and takes control as her AIM soldiers rush in behind her. The Joro Spider smiles as she taps her comms. Her agents inform her that the Trojan Horse program in the snow machines has shut down all the arena security. Good. You may proceed on my mark, she says with a smile as she glances down at the computer systems that run the entire arena. The Stark Arena runs on cold fusion energy, Imagine what good that kind of technology could do in the hands of AIM, instead of powering little light shows like this. Jay says to her soldiers, who merely nod at their armored leader. She waves them away. Find the stabilizer cores and
It's good to see that some actual conflict is being introduced. Like I said, we'll see Luna get the chance to be a hero. Would have preferred to see her a little more down in the dumps in her backstory, because this is starting to get, I guess, to the hero stage of her backstory.
take them. I'll buy us time, she orders. She slams her hands against the console and sends an electrical charge through the system. On stage, the girls are still singing and dancing, but the lights pop overhead and sparks begin to fly. Sol-hee looks up in shock as the light suddenly begins to fall. She moves fast, pushes.
This frame is kind of funny. Okay.
Pushing Haewon out of the way and to safety. Are you okay? Sol-hee asks as she helps Haewon to her feet. They both turn as the Joro spider and her soldiers step out on.
This is what I want to see. This is the heroic frame. The self-sacrifice. That's what makes a hero.
Onto the stage. Apologies for interrupting the concert, everyone. Just stay calm and don't move. Follow our orders, and no one needs to get hurt tonight, she orders everyone. Sol-hee looks on in shock as the AIM soldiers rush forward and zap her friends, stunning them and dropping them to the floor. Keep them out of the way and put them where they can't cause trouble, Jay orders. Sol-hee tries to protect her friends, but the soldiers grab her. Interesting. Bring her here, Jay orders. She looks down at the young woman. I'm impressed by your courage. So as a reward, I'll let you stay conscious and watch your friends freeze to death. Throw them in the cryo-reactor, Jay orders. The soldiers nod and drag the group over to the high-tech snow machines, throwing them.
Starting to get an idea of how her hair goes half white. I'm starting to think it has nothing to do with dye.
Inside the incredibly cold machines and locking the lid. It'll be over before you know it, one of the soldiers laughed as the chamber closed. The machine is incredibly cold and her friends are unconscious. Sol-hee has no choice but to find a way out. She also needs to save her grandmother, who is in the crowd and watching with such pride. She looks around, hoping to find something. No handles, no seams. Who designed this thing? Sol-hee wonders out loud. The machine begins to spark and the strange cold fusion tech begins to glow. When all of a sudden, the cryo engine explodes, bathing her in a strange blue energy. When the light faded, Sol-hee had been transformed. One eye was blue and half her hair was white. What is this? She whispers in surprise, but the energy shoots from her, destroying the cryo-reactor and allowing her to escape.
I find this really funny. This is awesome, by the way. It's typical, I guess, comic kind of power-up. But it reminds me of something from Rick and Morty, where two of them switch bodies, and they can't use each other's bodies, and they just end up basically dying. If somebody had gone through a transformation like this, and if the energy bursts from them without them being able to control it or knowing what's going to happen, your hands most of the time face you. You probably blow one of your legs off rather than, blow your way out of this container with some foreign energy flowing through you.
Shoots from her, destroying the cryo-reactor and allowing her to escape. The AIM soldiers whirl in surprise as Sol He steps from the remains of the reactor.
This is the apotheosis shot.
Ice.
After the self-revelation of usually a hero, or in typical Greek type of stories, the hero story, where they attain godlike powers. That's the apotheosis. But in general writing, it's like after the self-revelation, the character is able to do things that they were not able to do before. That's the point of the self-revelation, the point of the whole story. And that ability is like a power to be able to do what you couldn't before. That's apotheosis.
And snow swirling around her as she turns her frosty gaze upon them. I think it's time for you to go, she tells them as she raises a hand and hits them with a blast of ice. Her friends are awake and rushing behind her, shouting a warning as more soldiers raise their weapons and open fire. But Sol He creates a wall of ice to protect them. Got it, she shouts. Is everyone okay? Sol He asks. They all nod, but Minji's eyes widen as she points to Sol He's hair. Oh my god, your hair! She gasps. For a brief moment, Sol He becomes self-conscious and reaches for her hair, but the ice suddenly
That doesn't seem as compared to everything that's happening, the fact that her hair has gone white is not the most surprising thing. But
they all nod, but Minji's eyes widen as she points to Sol He's hair. Oh my god, your hair! She gasps. For a brief
it just makes these girls look so shallow. I guess when a writer wants to call attention to something, maybe that's more important than the way you make some insignificant characters look. But anyway.
Moment, Sol He becomes self-conscious and reaches for her hair, but the ice suddenly shatters and the Joro spider steps through. Well, that's new, the villain notes. She rushes forward, slashing at Sol He with her arm blades. This was supposed to be a simple mission. Get the cores and get out. But for some reason, you seem determined to complicate it.
Okay, this is this is quite funny. I think it's good writing. I'll say it's good writing, because this is a villain, and she did something twisted where she wanted to make someone suffer, and she's paying for that now. Yet her mental dialogue is so narcissistic that she says this was supposed to be a simple mission. If she had just came in, zapped the four of them that stunned them, she didn't even need to kill them. They had stun guns. Just stun them, or don't even come on the stage. Just take the thing that you need and leave. Yeah. You complicated things, woman.
You're an entertainer, not a hero, Jane notes as she whirls and slashes. But Sol He moves fast. Her powers react on instinct as she deflects the blows with icy walls and blades. I'm not trying to be a hero, but that doesn't mean I can't stand up to people like you.
Okay. So she's got courage, which is good. That's heroic. The talent for the powers, I don't really like. She's too good at it without trying. It's the talent thing again. It bugs me. But, in complete honesty, it's Marvel's not really what I grew up on. I actually grew up on things like Dragon Ball, which people don't consider anime because we watched it in English, unlike the rest of anime. But yeah, when you have some kind of a power up like this, usually you play shit at it at first, or you have some beginner's luck. I don't think they plan on having a long story for Luna, so they just forego that. She's not gonna have an arc where she's gonna get better at the ice. The ice doesn't do anything that harms her friends or her, or is easy to beat by this woman who's a trained agent who's been probably doing this for forever. This is not a first mission, so it's supposed to be a quick mission. So she's clearly done other missions before, and she just wants one of the simple ones. But here's this person who has never had magic before, and suddenly she's beating her. This is an insult. Kind of makes the villain look kind of shit. That's the problem with, just being so talented and not earning stuff. You also make other characters look bad. If she, for example, had gone through a lot, learned to use this thing, some difficulty in using this thing, some sacrifice in using this thing, and overcame that, or paid the price, and then defeated this person who is experienced with their abilities, that also makes this person look good, because what she had to pay was a high price to be able to defeat this person, which makes this person look higher value.
She snaps as she hits the Joro spider with a blast of cold. Jay glares at her for a moment, realizing that it's time to leave. I guess I have no choice, she says, ordering her suit to disconnect and self-destruct. Sol-hee's eyes widen in shock, and she throws up a massive ice wall to block the oncoming explosion. The ice holds for a moment before shattering, and when the smoke clears, the Joro spider and AIM agents are gone. Is everyone okay? Sol-hee asks as she turns back to her friends. Dongwon is there with her grandmother, and Sol quickly hugs her close, happy that she is safe. But Minji is also there. Excuse me, can we talk about your cool new superpowers? Ice spikes? Snowstorms? Shifting hair and eye colors? Minji asks as she reaches for the white streak in Sol-hee's hair. Okay, seriously, what happened to my hair? Sol-hee asks. Dongwon snaps a picture and holds up his phone for her to see. Oh my god, that's so cool! Sol-hee shouts with joy. Suddenly, the crowd is behind her, chanting her stage name with some added flair. Luna Snow! Luna Snow! Luna Snow! They chant. Sol-hee is embarrassed, but Haewon is there by her side. I told you they'd be chanting your name, she whispers. Sol-hee thinks about it for a moment and smiles. Luna Snow. Yeah, that feels right, she says with a smile. And there you have it, the origin of Sol-hee, aka...
Okay. I like the ending. It's a very simple story. They avoid any complications in the ending, in the final fight, because they want it to be short and sweet. I can understand that. And also there's a lot of, I guess, kids reading the story. I don't mean that in a curation kind of way. I mean that in a let's keep it simple kind of way. Doesn't make for the most complex of stories. It's a very simple bread and butter hero story. And I guess we did empathize with her enough as a kid who as an orphan, who was bullied, who was gonna be taunted with her friends dying in front of her, probably while she was about to get hypothermia, which is bad enough. Instead getting powers and turning a sadistic villain's plans around. It's fine. The fact that villain was a bit like narcissistic actually is probably the most interesting thing about this story. Not Luna Snow, unfortunately, but she is a cool character. The design is really awesome. The kind of soccer ball hairstyle, but the half, which you don't really see here. It's flicked and they both equal. The bangs, the size, except the path on one side is slightly offset. So now that we know the story, what do we see here? Like I said, the way it started with her, which was the point of that? Yeah, she was already wearing pretty much this exact same getup, and only her hair and her eye changed. So it's kind of like a very basic, a very basic um, change. Changing hair and eyes is a bit of a meme in the art community, where some people don't actually have um, art fundamentals. They just draw the same generic faces, and they don't know how to change a face to make a unique face. They just draw the same thing, change the eye color and hairstyle. That's kind of the vibes I'm getting here. Overall, the design is awesome. Like, there's no denying that the design is awesome, and for her powers that she gets at the end, and everything that happens with this ice reactor, and the character arc that she has. Wait, what is her character arc here? Because she was a nice girl. She was timid, but she found there's something that she thought that was awesome earlier, and it basically gave the vibes that she was like a bubbly person. And now when she saw a picture of her hair, she had that same reaction. So she's pretty much the same person. So the apotheosis that she has is basically just a strength change, which makes the story feel even more basic yet again. But she does show that she is a hero in that she had courage um, to stand up against the villain, which is what got the villain to want to put her down, right? Leave her conscious in the uh, uh, freezing temperatures while she watched her friends die. So that was done very well. The execution of that was done very well. And when she was in that situation, she didn't curl up. She, well, I guess, faced the frost and her power was activated. So there's a lot of agency involved in every step of the process. Again, this kind of there's pros and cons to everything. The fact that she already had this agency, it minimizes the arc, but it maximizes the hero potential. It just doesn't feel earned. Like if you had to look at a Peter Parker and the change he went through to become the Incredible Spider-Man from a nerdy guy, like that is an arc. It's a very visual one where you go from scrawny nerd to buff superhero. Well, lean buff. Um, she is the same person. Her eye color and hair color has just changed. Let's see in terms of the accessories. Her earring is still the pointy earring. So she's still wearing the same neck thing, two-tone neck thing. The inside of a jacket, I guess, has some bluish aqua uh kind of coloring, which this doesn't have, which I guess helps. And actually her design is, you can say, three-tone. So white and blue, kind of can think of it as the same thing, but it's different enough to have the white, blue, and almost greenish tone, and the black. So there's a lot more variety, definitely a lot more variety in this design. Um, Not that variety is better, I'm just saying there's a change um, from this design. There's not much to go from other than that, because the comic doesn't really show any casual scenes, any other outfits that she wore while she was on stage. This is just the outfit, right? That she has. So it's the eye and the hair. Uh, that's basically it. And like I said, the hair changed based on the story, so it's fine. There's just no arc. It's just a strength apotheosis that shows her courage and when she protected a friend. her the hero in her. So this is a symbol of that in that case. So it's very simple. They built her clothes design into the character beforehand. That's a story thing. But overall, the character itself, it's amazing. I really, really like this design. And since she's bubbly and stuff, you've got the soft design, which you still see all over. She looks like a very soft character until you see all these spikes here and there, and the sharper face. But you'll see in most of the stuff, she looks, it's a very round design overall. Even look at the swooping curves, and then there's just flicks of sharpness here and there. Icy, pointy, cold. That's what you'd expect to see with those powers. But everything very soft, round, with minimal spikes. That's basically her design. If I had to, if I had to put down a shape for what her design would be, it would be something round, um, with very minimal spikiness. You know, I'm not drawing a head here. It's just trying to draw a shape that gives me the feel of Luna Snow. So it's not exactly like soft and round. I think you might see what I'm saying if I do this. It looks more like a head this way, but instead of doing that, let's just rotate it. Yeah, a little more. This is just a feeling, right? It's a feeling of a shape. This doesn't feel. I think what's feeling wrong here is we need a flick out. Try not to make this look like a hair, by the way. That will defeat the purpose. But unfortunately, it's starting to look like a hair. And the more I squish it, the more it's gonna look like a head. Okay, now those points, I want to minimize them. So let me get a soft eraser. Okay, let's just. That's fine. So basically, if we were thinking about what to use for our character design, whether it was a more circular shape, square shape, or triangular shape, I feel like we've got a combination of these two, in different amounts for Lunar Snow. And I think this amount is what they used for her. in my opinion. So it's not completely circular, it's not completely soft. If you look at the face that we were talking about earlier, very round design, very, well, extremely round design, a little more mixed design. And the more we go into the actual final game design, the sharper we get. So this is just a feel, by the way. You can brainstorm a billion more of these to get the mix. Uh, that that's and you can tweak it a billion times until you're happy with what encapsulates the feel. I'm I squished it, but I'm going for a perfect circle for some reason. Let's just do that. Yeah, I feel like I feel like this is a good representation of how much circle versus how much pointy we have for this character. So it, to me, what that communicates is that she's soft and bubbly and cute and cuddly, but she does have an edge to her, and that's the courage that we see. Um, she's not just, a an idol, a soft, quiet, reserved idol. She's got some um, grit to her, and we can see that in the posing as well. Um, Here we've got a bit of a curve mixed with a little bit of triangle there. Very clear curve there. A little bit more of a curve there. But I like what they did with this one. It's a very sharp design. This this pose would be enough if I only saw that one and not all of these, plus the comic. I'd probably make this one a little sharper, a little more triangular. That circle wouldn't be as circular. Um, it would have been, I would have edited it differently. But that is how I feel about her character design in terms of both the story, um, her backstory, the game, and I guess the comics design as well. Very interesting stuff. The story was I think it was a cool story. Um, I would prefer something a little more complex, but I guess they don't have as much page time as maybe they don't have as much page time as the writers would have liked. Maybe they would have preferred a more complex story, but they just cut it down to the bare essentials, which is commendable as well. Like I'm sure we came to sit down for an informative video. The a story included is nice, although we're not here to sit through like a 10 episode 20-minute per episode story of Lunar Snow. Right, what we got was pretty good, so they did the job that they needed for that specific story. Yeah, so that's Lunar Snow. That's the first video um, for this character design slash um, story design, looking at Marvel Rivals. If you're interested in any characters for any other games as well, let me know. I play mainly Overwatch and Dota too. But in terms of RPGs, there's a lot of stuff that I need to play. But recently I've played Horizon Zero Dawn, and Forbidden West. I've played Final Fantasy remake, Integrate, and when Rebirth comes to PC, I will play that. Awesome character designs in Final Fantasy. Horizon has amazing design. In terms of the main character, there's some questionable things, but I don't think that's it was enough to kill the game. The game has some beautiful designs. In terms of the machinery and the environments, it's just amazing. But we're not here for that. We're here for the character design. So, yeah, this was Lunar Snow, Marvel Rivals. If we don't get any comments, unfortunately, as a new channel, we might only get one or two from my friends. But if you want to be my friend, you can suggest the next character. If I don't get those, I'll most likely do Psylocke or Magic next. Yeah, okay. We'll see you in that video.